Hi guys.
Hi all.
Hi Zed.
Hi Akash, how are you doing?
So you have been missing for a couple of weeks, huh?
Yes, there were some ups and downs in my health and family health also. So we couldn't catch up much. But
Yeah,
now
yeah,
here we are and we have a lot to discuss now. Things
yeah,
are
yeah.
happening.
Things are happening and things have happened. Actually,
Have happened.
on seventh of seventh कोई था ना?
Yes, 7th May ko tha.
On 7th of May we got the new iPads
Hmm.
and uh, we are hoping that we get a new iPad OS also and the new OSs also, new
Hmm.
software for Apple devices, in on June in June basically when the
Right.
WWDC happens for
Hmm.
Apple products. So we are looking forward to that. But for now, tell me what are your thoughts on the iPads which were unveiled and which were announced?
Right. So see, first of all, if you remember in our last video, we were discussing about the iPad event.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly, we were not that excited about it because does not make sense, right, to upgrade a chip each iteration on an iPad. So we discussed all those points in the last video, and we were not that excited for the iPad event.
Yep,
But
yep.
honestly, when it happened, I think I am honestly taking a little bit of interest in those iPads because I think what Apple did is they did not reinvent the wheel, but whatever iterations, whatever improvements they have put there, I think it's a pretty interesting lineup that they have put here.
Okay.
And now it like actually resembles the iPhone lineup. Like you have a standard one, then a plus one, and then you have a Pro and a Pro Max. So in the similar way, they have the iPad Air, which is 11 inch. They've rounded it off now. Like previously
Hmm.
it was 10.9, so they rounded it off to 11 inch. And
Yep.
then they have a 13 inch MacBook Air as well, because those who don't want to go Pro all the way, they can just
Hmm.
and they just want a bigger screen. So just like the whatever formula they use for the Plus iPhones, the same thing used for the 13 inch iPad Air. And they house the M2 chip. So it is not even like M2 is a pretty standard chip now in 2024 to say,
Yeah,
because it
correct.
is pretty much standardized. It has good performance and good heat management also they have done with the new iPad OS updates. So it's a pretty interesting lineup there. You have two Air iPads now instead of just one like previous years. And then you have the Pro ones, and the Pro ones are actually very interesting, which we'll discuss now in this video.
Yeah.
So that iPads are really what interests me, because even though all the improvements that they have said are not like they are not like over the moon or anything,
Hmm.
but still I think they're pretty interesting, especially those who have never owned a iPad before. Obviously, it does not make sense for someone who already owns a previous M1 iPad Pro or something, because
Yeah.
how like what we discussed in the last video. But still, those who are looking to buy a new iPad Pro, I think it's a pretty interesting lineup this year.
Yes, and now that they have standardized the entire Air and the Pro lineup for the iPads, it is just same as you said that it is just as same as this thing, the iPhones, right? That you are getting uh, a standard phone and a plus size version of it, and then for the Pros, it is also the same size. The same sizes are there for both non-Pro and the Pro models, but yeah, that difference is there and the price difference will also be there. But now what they have done is they have unveiled the M4 chip just for the iPad Pros, just as they do every year for the iPhones. So they put the latest and the greatest chips, the fastest chips in their Pro lineup, and they give the last year's chip into the normal one that they have done for the Air. Previously, the iPad Airs used to get the M1 chip, and the iPad Pros used to get the M2 chip, right? M2, M2 Pro,
Hmm,
those
hmm.
chips they used to get. But now that they have unveiled the iPad Pros with M4 chip, now the M2 chip is being used in the Air. So that is the standard iPhone formula that they are using.
Right. And they could have easily gone with the M3 in the iPad Pros. But instead, I mean, this is what I am loving a bit about Apple this year, is that
Hmm.
they've just bumped it up to a whole new chip to make it interesting. Because if they would have put the M3 chip, then it would have been like a standard formula and nothing interesting in that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they all the way went ahead and introduced a new chip. So it makes it pretty interesting for even reviewers to test it out and see the performance of this new chip inside this app.
Yes, but my thoughts on this are a bit different because see, M3 they have unveiled is just last year, right? And now if they are going to unveil a new product and or a new chip each year, then when at some point of time, like 2 or 3 years down the line, those upgrades and those performance boost will get stagnant at some point in time. So I think Apple is just hurrying things too much. They could have easily used M3 chip because iPads anyway were not used to getting these M3 chips. They were at max getting the M2 and the M2 Pro chips. So they could have put the M3 and the M3 Pro chips because M3 was just launched last year. And now that they have unveiled the M4 chip, so the entire excitement for the or the entire uh, hype for the M3 has gone into the drains, and now everyone is talking about the performance of M4, and they have already started comparing it with the M3 chips. M2 is out of the question for now, but the comparisons are there between M4 and M3 now.
Right,
And the latest laptops, the latest MacBooks, be it MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, they all are getting the M3 chips right now. So I think that was a big marketing decision that they have taken because iPad were not making any sense anyway, right? Because we have discussed the same thing in the last podcast also, that iPads are not making any sense for now. But if a user wants performance, if a user wants to do heavy tasks, so will they go for an M3 chip or an M4 chip?
right. So I agree with you.
They'll anyway they'll anyway try to opt for, I mean, M4 chip, right?
Exactly.
This is the conundrum that Apple is asking us, and they are expecting the users that if they are wanting a good performance boost and everything that the iPad has to offer, then people will go for the iPad. Otherwise, if they want to save on some money, they'll go for the MacBooks.
Right, right. So I totally agree with you on that because it does not make sense to put performance year and year on iPads. But you see that's the thing here. See the M2 iPad Air, the 11-inch one, I think starts at 60,000 rupees now. And the previous iPad they had, the original iPad, that is now starting at 50,000 rupees. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
most people will just buy that iPad or the 11-inch iPad Air because for most people, like for 95% of the people who don't do that much heavy stuff, sometimes they do some video editing or some graphic designing or something. So mostly they do media consumption or surfing the net or something. For them, this is the iPad to get, like the this
Yeah.
one, the 11-inch iPad Air, because M2 is more than sufficient for their needs. And but just those who have regular media consumption or would like to travel and are mostly on their iPads, they can bump it up to the 13-inch one because they get a bigger screen and a bigger battery for that
Yep, yep,
matter.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
but the thing with this, but we were discussing that it's not much worth putting like the latest M4 in the pros. But I think what they are doing is, like later in this year, I think Final Cut will also come to iPads. So they are trying to bring out such heavy softwares into iPads. And I think
Hmm.
that is where this performance boost will come into picture because then the real test will happen. Then, like as they also introduce ray tracing, so those console level games play so well on these iPads now with the OLED screen also. Everything, rounds it up really well with these iPads. So with the M4, with the OLED display, the tandem OLED, we'll
Hmm.
come to this, I think. But with the tandem OLED bright display, like the console level performance, we are going to get it now when it comes to gaming. And plus, along with that, as I said, like Final Cut is also coming. So heavy level stuff of video editing can also happen in iPads now. So the M4 is right there to support all of that.
Yeah, but the app support for the iPads is still at the minimum level or at the minimal level,
Exactly. Right.
because only the Apple made apps or the Apple made software is supported, is optimized for that M4 or optimized for iPads only, right? And if we not many developers are paying attention to the iPad OS or making compatible apps for the iPads. So if someone is a power user, like they are going to consume media, and as much as they are going to create content or edit things and do whatever the iPad is capable of, then only for that person the iPad is making sense for now, at
Right.
least in India, because in India iPads are not I mean they are not a necessity. They iPad is actually comes in is now included into a luxury segment. That is an add-on, or that is an accessory which we can have, but that is not a necessity.
Exactly. Right.
So
And I think the pros are really suitable for those who are professionals and who travel a lot with their iPads and do like
yeah,
business or professional stuff on their iPads. So I think the pro fits for them. Plus, one more addition is that they want to use it for like at least 3 to 4 years or 5 years coming down the line. So
yeah,
because that M4's chip support, whatever improvements they have done in this iPad will last longer in this matter. Because the older iPads, the original 2018 iPad, also still today people can use it for media consumption and like basic stuff,
yeah,
all of that.
yeah,
But it just comes down to like the high level stuff, the professional stuff. For them, it might not be that much like that much reliable for them. So only
yeah,
for that niche audience it applies.
yeah. So I'll show you one thing. See this iPad.
Mhm.
This is my 2019 iPad Air, the third generation iPad Air. Okay, so it has the A12 Bionic chip. It has just 3 GBs of RAM, and it has 64 GB of storage. Still, I have played games since the last 5 years. I have played games on this. I have uh, I have edited my the videos, the podcast, my vlogs on this thing, and I am still using it for editing and making the thumbnails.
Right.
Okay, and this has stuck up very well, and this I product, this 2019 iPad Air, this is still just as good as a product as we have an iPhone 7 or iPhone 6. It is still usable. It is still getting the software support. I start this iPad started its journey, I think from iOS 12. Just a sec, let me confirm that once. Yeah, this iPad started its journey from iPhone 12, sorry, iOS 12. Okay, and in the world of iOS 17.5.1, it is still supported, and I'm sure it will be supported for at least 1 or 2 years more. It will be getting iPad OS 18, and it will also get uh, I think iPad OS 19 also. It is still a good product. It is still usable, and I am able to consume media. I'm able to listen to the songs. I'm able to play games. I'm able to do each and everything that a standard iPad can do. So, what is the point of getting an iPad each year, or what is the point of getting an iPad altogether? Getting an
Exactly.
iPad at all, and
Exactly.
that to the latest one. If someone has to buy an iPad and someone asks me that they need to get a tablet, or they need to get a bigger screen portable device which is not a laptop, so I would suggest them to go for either M1 MacBook, sorry, not MacBook Air, M1 iPad Air, or the fourth generation iPad Air, which my wife has. I'm talking to you through this fourth generation iPad Air, which has the newer design, and which has the support for second generation Apple Pencil also. Yeah, and this iPad is also usable, still usable. This is the iPad that I'm talking about. I'm showing it to the camera. I can't just take off its case and show, because we are talking through it. But this iPad is also still usable.
Exactly. Yeah, and actually, where does it fit also? Because see, there are a lot of other options also in the Android space. Because if you don't just like, I think so, iPads only come into picture when you're doing like iPad OS related apps, specific apps like Final Cut, Luma Fusion, or specific graphic designing apps. If they are on the iPad OS and they work really well, only for
Yeah,
those niche scenarios an iPad will apply. For other scenarios you can even go for an Android tablet, because y- if you don't want that connectivity with your other devices or something like that, you just want a standalone device,
Yeah, yeah,
Then the Android space also has a lot to offer, especially like the Galaxy Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. I think
yeah,
it just went all ahead with that this year, and on discount you can get it for about 90,000 or something. And that's the same price where you get the 11-inch M4 iPad Pro now, 11-inch one.
yeah,
So at the
yeah.
same price, you get a 14.6-inch screen, big the mammoth of a device you get there on the
With
Samsung
I
space
think with the stylus included.
with the stylus included.
I might be
Exactly.
wrong on this. Do we get the
No,
stylus in
no,
the box?
we get it in the box. We don't have to buy it separately. And also the thinness of the Samsung Tab is just
Yeah,
like on par with the 5.1 inch iPad 13-inch iPad Pro. So
yeah,
Apple is going like we have reduced the thinness so much. It is just 5.1 mm. Samsung already did something like that last year. It's not as thin as 5.1 mm exactly, but it comes very close to that. So it's a really thin iPad. Sorry, it's a really thin tablet, and also it has a 14.6-inch display, which is still much bigger than the 13-inch iPad Pro.
yeah. See, my theory is that iPad now when the event happened, okay, and the thought process of Apple behind just unveiling these iPads and just focusing on the thinness of the device is just to show Samsung that they are still ahead of them. Apple is just to show the world that they are still in terms of innovation, in terms of design, and in terms of optimization of the resources. Apple is still ahead of Samsung.
Mm.
So the entire point of making the 13-inch iPad uh, 5 point, 5.1 mm thin was to show the world, because what they could have done was they could have kept the same thickness as last year, or the last iteration. Yeah, and with the performance boost of M4 and the battery optimization of the M4, they could have increased the battery life from 18
Exactly.
hours or 20 hours to they could have increased the battery life to maybe 30 or 32, 35 hours. But they didn't choose to do that. What they thought was the iPad's battery is already good enough for most of the users. Why not just make a thinner device just to compete with Samsung's counterparts, and we can anyway keep the same battery life, average battery life, or the standby time. So that was the thought process, I think, which
And
Apple had.
plus, I think it is also working because I've seen some reviews, and the M4 chip is like actually efficient. So even if not better than the previous iPad Pros, the battery
Yeah,
life is just neck and neck with those one. So the
yeah,
battery life hasn't gone down with the reduction of the actual battery capacity. But I think what the M4 chip is really doing well in that efficiency part. So the
yeah,
battery life
yeah,
still is
yeah.
staying similar. Yeah, but that would have been really interesting to see if they would have
Mm.
just gone all the way, and the iPad like lasts forever. You don't have to charge it for 3 to 4 days or anything, even if you're using continuously.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that would have been something interesting to see. But see, there is one thing I want to talk about is I don't understand the aspect ratio of iPads, because usually iPads, media consumption is like a basic thing to do on a tablet, and the aspect ratio of iPads do not really go well with that. Like if you're watching like 16:9 or a YouTube video and you like
mm-hmm.
zoom it all the way up, it crops a lot. The
Yeah,
same thing
yeah,
Samsung does it really well. They have a wide screen like aspect ratio, the 4 is to the 16 is to 9 aspect ratio, and there the content does not get cropped much. So the media consumption there, you see a lot of content more on that screen compared to the iPads,
yeah.
and still they
And also
haven't
the
changed
black
the
bars, on the top and on the bottom.
right.
uh, the black bars on the iPad is actually huge as compared to, actually bigger than as compared to the Samsung ones, right?
Right, right. Yeah. So that is something I don't understand. I think I think they're just going with the previous aspect ratio, the 4:3 they always had, like since the beginning of time. But
Hmm.
they should really improve that, I think so, because media consumption is a basic, like, one of the most basic use cases of an iPad. And in that, if the content gets cropped more, if you are doing a full screen view, then I think people would lean on more to the Samsung tablet because you get a bigger screen. Like it has a 4.6-inch display, and just because of that aspect ratio you get to see more content also.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if it had that 4.6-inch display and the aspect ratio of the iPads, then it would have shown lesser content on the screen, right? So that's the
Correct.
difference in that. So they are making most of their screen. That is where Samsung I think excels, is that whatever features or whatever design they do, they make the most of it. Like they want to put everything there and make the most of it. But
Yeah, yeah.
Apple I think just follows the one formula. They try to put some tweaks here and there, but they follow the same formula. So I think that is something that I want them to like touch base on, because that aspect ratio thing really bothers me on that front.
Yes, and what I think about the iPads, the M4 iPad Pros, at least in the Pros that they have put the M4 chip and everything. Just to confirm that theory, we'll have to wait till WWDC, which is which will take place from 7th to 14th of June. But for that, I think my theory says that they are at least going to put some Mac OS features on the iPad, and that was the reason that they have made the iPads that powerful.
And that is why I think so M4 ka relevance comes into picture. Like that is why M4 is so futuristic in
Hmm.
terms matlab, today. All those new features that they are putting will actually, M4 will be able to support them and host them. So I
Yes.
think that is why they have started with M4 now, but this is just the start. So we have a lot to see in the future with new iPad OS update.
Yeah, and and see if iPad OS has a few Mac features like I'm just speculating, but if just let's just do it. If we are doing speculations, then let's just do it. My theory suggests that if Apple is going to put some Mac OS features, okay, they will not make iPad capable of completely dual booting it itself from either iPad OS or to Mac OS or vice versa, but it will not be able to do that yet because they have Macs to protect, right? And if iPad is able to do such heavy tasks, no one will ever think of buying a Mac.
Max, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right. So, what they will do is once you connect it to the Magic Keyboard, it will at least get a few features. It will at least get because it already gets the entire shortcuts and the from the keyboard and the trackpad integration and everything it already has. So it will you know as soon as you connect the iPad to the Magic Keyboard, it will just switch itself to a desktop only mode. Touchpad will the touchscreen will obviously work, but it will still go into a desktop mode, just as we have this Samsung Dex, right? Just like that.
Mhm. Right.
And
So one of the best features that Samsung has, Apple is going to come in that race as well.
yes, yes, yes. I think so. And if they are able to do that even after connecting to an external display, if it supports at least a mobile version of macOS or a portable version of macOS or a smaller version of macOS, just a smaller version of macOS, just that. So that will be a game-changing thing that Apple will do, or that Apple will be capable of something like
Actually. And I just think like, since we have the M4 now, obviously we're going to get the M4 Max and the M4 Ultra also.
that. Yeah,
I don't know who is going to actually go for those, or I mean, who would actually need those basically? People may still buy it, but who would actually really need those? I think again it will be a more niche audience. I think the audience base, like the consumer base, just keeps on decreasing when it comes to these iterative improvements, because people just don't need them. So
yeah.
we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
And and the support that Apple gives, the support that Apple provides for each of its products, it is at least 5 to 6 years. At least,
Hmm.
at least 5 to 6 years.
Right.
If if I had got an iPhone 7 back in 2016, it started with iOS 10. It started its journey from iOS 10, but it was supported till iOS 15. Okay, so 6 years of upgrades or six OSs I have seen.
Right.
I have seen the UI changing 6 times, six software upgrades or six software upgrades which are supported. I have seen that. and that phone is still usable. I still have that phone. So if Apple is making such good devices, Apple is making such good products for each and everyone, then as you have said, the day will come then, uh, except for the people who have a lot of money and they have a lot of money to spend at their disposal. Other than those people, no one will choose to buy a new Apple product every year.
Right.
At least in
But
India.
talking
At
about
least in India.
upgrades, at least in India. But talking about upgrades, when it comes to the Apple Pencil Pro,
Yeah.
do you think it's an upgrade because it's not even backward compatible? And the pressure sensor that they have put plus the rotating feature that they have put does it make it worth to buy or have a pro feature or pro name added to that?
Okay. So my take on this is that yeah, we can go ahead with the Apple Pencil Pro, and why it is supported only on the latest iPads, because the latest iPads, both the iPad Airs and both the iPad Pros, they have the camera, which was basically aligned for the portrait mode. It has gone to the landscape mode where it should have been from the start, right?
Right.
Where the Samsung webcams are also there at the same place, they have gone to their landscape configuration. So to fix that there and to make it compatible with the Apple Pencils, because Apple Pencil is magnetically attaches itself and it charges magnetically, right? So they have aligned the magnets in such a way that it won't hinder with the performance of the camera, the front cam, and the front cam should also be there. So they have just
Mhm.
changed the alignment of the magnets. Because of that, the Apple Pencil Pro is not backwards compatible. If even if you have any iPad, be it iPad Pro from the last year, M2 Pro, iPad Pro, it won't support the Apple Pencil Pro because the magnets are not at the right place.
But I think it
And
still does not totally justify just having a pro word to it. Plus, also it's not backward compatible. I think it does not totally justify. I mean, whatever design perspective that you have mentioned really applies.
hmm,
But Apple could have easily gotten away with this also. They could have done something for this, but it is not backward compatible. Plus, I think the stylus world is not that interesting to say. I mean, it applies to only a couple of people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
even Samsung tried with their air gestures and all. I think
yeah,
that was something that I mean, no one uses it, but that is still something, they tried to have some innovation in that, but that is a niche product. So I think, the stylus world is not that interesting and that is not much that you can still improve. The previous Apple pencils were like more than enough for most people, even artists. So
yeah.
just some improvements here and there, I mean, they can do it, but I don't think so, if not that much people would be benefited from it.
Yeah, yeah. Just a sec. I'm checking for the Apple Pencil prices in India. Just a sec. Okay. So the good thing, the only this is the only time that the regular Apple product and the Pro version of it are being offered at the same price. Okay. So Apple Pencil
Oh,
second
okay.
generation, which is compatible with all the other iPad Pros and the iPad Airs, that is 11,900. That means almost 12,000 rupees in India. And the Apple Pencil Pro is also at the same cost. So they have not they have not upmarked it with respect to the price. But yes, Apple Pencil Pro, it is not backwards compatible. So if you are an iPad user and if you are planning to get the Apple Pencil Pro for 12,000 rupees, and so that you can enjoy the squeeze feature, the gestures, and each and everything, for that you'll have to get the compatible iPad. There is no other way around.
Right.
You won't
No
be
other way around. So it
even if you buy an Apple Pencil Pro with your current iPad Pro or any iPad, you won't be able to even pair it with your current iPad.
right. So it just boils down to which iPad you are using, and altogether you have to upgrade your iPad as well.
Yes.
But that's a good thing that you mentioned that they have kept the same price. So whichever iPad you have, you don't have to compromise on like the cost of it. You don't have to spend extra or
Yeah.
anything for the Pro. So that is something really good that they have done here in India, because the price is the same. It could have been lesser, and more importantly, it could have been inside the box
Yeah, yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Just like how Samsung is doing, because that is a basic thing, right? When you're owning a tablet, you should also have a stylus, because most applications also support that stylus, like note taking or doing designing or graphic
Hmm,
design stuff. And if you're drawing some pictures or something, or even if you're just scrolling through the UI or scrolling through some apps, the stylus really helps. Like I remember I used to use the Apple Pencil second gen, even my video editing,
hmm.
because there are, the UI that you have, like if you're using Luma Fusion, the buttons are really small there. If you use a stylus and if you scroll through the timeline with the stylus, it becomes more convenient to say.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like stylus helps in all aspects, I would say. So that is
So
something, a basic thing that they should pair it with within the box. Yes.
yeah, that is a distant dream, the distant of the most distant dreams an Apple product user can have, and the Apple customer can have. Because that won't happen ever. I think I used to talk to my friends that at least once Apple has removed the headphones from the box, they could at least offer AirPods along with the box, inside the box of the iPhones, and they can charge $100 or at $150 extra for that, and they can get away with it, completely, and no one even will question that thing, and they can still do the same thing with the Apple Pencil, right? But they won't do it. they
We'll do it.
they, they can charge
We can just dream.
yeah. If they can charge 10,000 rupees more in India, and they can bundle the entire package, right? They can bundle up the entire package, offer the Apple Pencil in the box, right in the box, but they won't do it ever. And what they could have done, just to differentiate between the Apple Pencil second generation and the Apple Pencil Pro, what they could have done, they could have just reduced the price of the Apple Pencil second generation,
Right. Yeah.
at least by $10.
So that
ten
would have
dollars
made a
or
lot of sense.
1,000 rupees for us in India. Right. So that could have, made that difference. That could have, changed that perception or the perceived value of the Apple Pencil Pro. That if this is a Pro Pencil, then it will require a Pro iPad. But it's not done. So anyway, we won't be able to do anything about it.
Right. So I think that was it for our Apple event. And if anyone wants to like still have any questions or suggestions, let us know in the comment section.
Thank you guys, and please consider subscribing if you like this video. Thank you, Zed. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Bye. Thanks.